Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about that thing that they say isn't happening. A social contagion. These kids are all saying they're trans, number one. Number two, why is it all young girls doing this? And number three, why are the schools not telling parents that this is happening to their children?
I'm Sage's mother, better known as Nana. I adopted Sage after my son died when she was still a baby. She's been through 6 foster homes by then, but we loved her, and she blossomed into a joyful, lively girl who made music and art. Puberty began and COVID hit, and she was treated for depression and anxiety, at times very severe. Her teachers shared any concerns with me so her treatment could be adapted. The transparency ended in August of 2021 when Sage started high school. She started a public high school, and she told me that all the girls there were bi, trans, lesbian, emo, and she wanted to wear boys' clothes and be emo. Because I saw it as just a phase, it was fine with me. But at school, she told them something different. She was now a boy named Draco with male pronouns. Sage asked the school not to tell me, and they did not tell me, even though I informed them of her mental health history and medication. If I had known, this would be a much different story. She was terribly bullied.
I do not believe in any way, and especially as a transsexual adult, that this should ever be happening with children. Watch this.
That evening, I found a hall pass labeled Draco, and Sage told me she was identifying as a boy, and that her counselor said she could use the boys' bathroom. She'd been jacked up against the wall by a group of boys. She was crying, terrified. I said, just stay home, we'll figure it out. That was my last conversation with Sage for 5 months. The night she ran, she thought to a young friend she'd met online. She left a note saying she was scared of what would happen if she stayed. The sheriff, FBI, search dogs were called in. I dropped to my knees in prayer. 9 days later, the FBI found her in Baltimore. My baby had been lured online, sex trafficked by DC, then Maryland. She was locked in a room, drugged, brutalized by countless men. It was night. The FBI told us to pick her up in Maryland the next morning. We packed our cars with blankets and stuffed animals and arrived by 8 a.m. But we were told we couldn't see her and were summoned before Judge Robert Kershaw late that afternoon. They didn't even tell Sage that we came for her. We finally entered the courtroom, and Sage appears on a huge Zoom screen from a prison cell. She looks tiny and broken, and I cry out, "I love you, Sage." Sage responds, "I love you too, Nana."
Just wow. So this young girl who started to identify as a boy, and then I guess she was being told by some of the other kids and people that their parents won't understand them, so she ended up running away from home. And luckily the grandparents found her, but already she had been having these horrifying things happen to her. Already at school, she was getting bullied by the boys by going in the boys' room. I don't know how anyone thinks it's okay for these young girls who identify as boys in a high school or even junior high school situation to be just like no one's going to say anything. Now she's running away from home and getting trafficked, and all this crazy stuff is happening to her, and they find her, and now she's in jail, and now the grandparents went to go pick her up, right? Listen to this.
But attorney Anissa Khan rebukes us. She is a he, and his name is Draco, not Sage. We were floored. What? Khan accuses us of emotional and physical abuse, that we are misgendering her. Even though we just learned she claims to be trans and we're willing to use any name and pronouns to bring her home. My husband was so tearful he kept forgetting the new pronouns. So the judge had...
Actual attorney for this young girl told the grandparents that her name is not Sage, it's Draco, in a legal setting. I am so disgusted, just mind-blowing, and floored me when I watched this whole video, which I'll put a link so you can watch the whole thing and cry, because I have so much more to show you. It's just disastrous, the whole thing. I'm going to show you now a TikTok of a detransitioner. Watch this.
My name is Layla Jane. I'm 18 years old, and I am a woman who has detransitioned. I am actively suing Kaiser Permanente, and I'm suing The doctors that gave me those fluids related to my transition.
I think you're one of the youngest detransitioners other than myself that I know of, and you actually started transitioning a year earlier than I did, and 2 years before I got my mastectomy. You were 12 when you started taking testosterone blockers, right?
Yeah.
Were you on blockers?
Initially, yeah, they started me on Lupron, and then they put me on testosterone.
You got your mastectomy.
She was 12, you guys. 12. 12. Oh, it's not happening.
At 13, just a few years after you started puberty. And that makes me upset personally. How do you feel about that? What's it like dealing with that?
It's very conflicting.
Then she got a mastectomy. Okay.
But honestly, I'm very upset that it was done to me so young, and also not to mention in a headspace where I just shouldn't have been able to make those kind of decisions. You know, I actually had never seen like a diagram of like a breast and like the organ and like the lactation, like organs, like the glands and all that until really recently I saw a diagram. They never showed anything like that to me, and they really watered it down and just called it top surgery, not a radical.
Not a double mastectomy.
Double mastectomy, what it was, right?
This person was 12 getting puberty blockers and hormones, and then 13 getting their breasts removed. How? Just how? Thank you for suing Kaiser, and I hope you sue them all up the butt, and I hope you win as much money as you need to make yourself happy and to stop this insane train. It is a train wreck. And we're all sitting here watching it going, stop, but nobody hears us. I cannot take this anymore, and I will not sit still, and I will not shut up. These children are being hurt. They're being destroyed, they're being manipulated, and they're being told that there's something they are not. So together, you and I can spread this message by helping me get this video out there.